The dream that whispered your future. Welcome. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes if you can and breathe deeply. Right now, in this stillness, allow yourself to recall a moment from your past. Perhaps you dreamed something vivid and strange, something that felt impossibly real, and then days or weeks later, that exact thing happened. The coincidence shook you. Your heart quickened. You wondered if perhaps you had glimpsed the future. You questioned whether your mind possessed some hidden ability to see beyond the veil of time itself. This is the experience that has haunted humanity for millennia, the sensation of knowing what will happen before it occurs, the inexplicable alignment between dream and reality, the feeling that your unconscious mind somehow reached forward through the fabric of time and touched tomorrow. Before we begin this exploration together, I invite you to subscribe to the Relaxing Science channel. Give this video a like and share your location and the current time where you are right now. This small gesture helps us understand where our listeners journey from, and it creates a community of minds exploring these mysteries together. Tonight, we venture into the quiet landscape of your sleeping mind. We examine the mechanisms that create the illusion of prophecy. We explore how your brain, that magnificent organ resting on your pillow, processes information in ways you never consciously witness. We discover that what feels like supernatural foresight is actually evidence of something equally extraordinary, perhaps even more beautiful. It is the hidden intelligence of your own mind, working tirelessly while you sleep, processing patterns and connections that your waking consciousness never registers. The dream you remember, the one that seemed to predict the future, holds truth, but not the truth you initially believed. Within that dream lives evidence of your brain's remarkable capacity to recognize patterns, to process subtle environmental cues, to simulate potential futures as a survival mechanism refined over millions of years of evolution. This is not magic. It is something far more intricate and far more worth understanding. It is neuroscience, it is psychology. It is the profound, ordinary miracle of human consciousness. Consider this moment carefully. You are listening to this voice in a space that belongs to you. Perhaps you lie in darkness, perhaps the night surrounds you, or perhaps daylight filters through your windows. Regardless of your circumstances, you have chosen to explore a question that matters to you deeply. You have chosen to seek understanding about the experiences that have puzzled you. This choice itself matters. This curiosity itself is valuable. For it is through curiosity that we move beyond fear and superstition toward genuine understanding. Throughout this journey, we will unravel the mystery together. We will examine the neuroscience of sleep and dreaming. We will explore how memory works, how it shifts and transforms, how it rewrites itself to match new information. We will investigate the role of pattern recognition in creating the sensation of premonition. We will look at probability and coincidence from a scientific perspective. We will understand how your brain predicts the future constantly, every single moment, as part of its fundamental function. And we will discover that far from diminishing the wonder of your mind, this understanding amplifies it. The journey from confusion to clarity is itself a form of relaxation. As you understand the mechanisms behind these mysterious experiences, you release the anxiety that often accompanies them. You stop wondering if you are losing your mind. You stop feeling that you possess abilities you cannot control or understand. You instead recognize yourself as the owner of a brain whose capabilities far exceed your conscious awareness. You become at peace with the mysteries of your own consciousness because you understand them better. This is our promise to you tonight. By the end of our exploration, you will feel calmer about these experiences. You will understand yourself more deeply, and you will appreciate the elegance of how your mind actually works. The human brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons. Each of these neurons connects to thousands of others, creating networks of incomprehensible complexity. When you sleep, these networks do not rest. They accelerate. They engage in conversations with themselves. They process the events of your day. They sort memories. They simulate future scenarios. They generate dreams. And within this vast, invisible symphony of neural activity, the sensation of premonition is born, not from supernatural sources, not from access to hidden knowledge beyond the physical world, but from your own brain's extraordinary intelligence working beneath the threshold of your awareness. As you listen to these words, allow your body to settle deeper into whatever surface supports you. Let your breathing find its natural rhythm. There is nothing you must do right now except receive these ideas. There is nothing you must figure out. You are safe here, in this moment, exploring these questions at your own pace. The answers will unfold naturally as we progress together through this investigation. And with each revelation, you will feel yourself relaxing more deeply into understanding. The mystery of premonition is not really a mystery at all. It is a beautiful misunderstanding about how your own mind works. And as we dissolve this misunderstanding, we make space for genuine wonder about your actual capabilities. We make space for gratitude toward the extraordinary biological system that is your brain. We make space for peaceful sleep, knowing that your dreams are not messages from beyond, but rather the voice of your own consciousness speaking to itself in the language of symbols and sensation. This is where we begin. This is the threshold we cross together tonight. When your brain becomes a pattern detector, your brain is, at its core, a pattern recognition machine. This is not metaphor. This is literal neuroscience. Every moment of your existence, your brain scans your environment, your body, your memories, and your experiences, searching for patterns. It compares current situations to past situations. It identifies similarities. It predicts what comes next, based on what came before. This function is so fundamental, so essential to your survival, that it operates constantly, even when you are completely unaware of it happening. During wakefulness, your conscious mind experiences only a tiny fraction of this pattern recognition work. You walk into a room and immediately sense whether the atmosphere feels tense or relaxed, but you cannot fully articulate why. You look at a person's face and instantly know they are upset, though you did not consciously analyze their facial muscles. You hear a few notes of a song and immediately know what song it is, so even though you have not heard it in years, your brain recognized the pattern. Your conscious mind simply received the conclusion. When you sleep, this pattern recognition does not stop. It actually intensifies. Your brain enters a state called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement sleep. During REM sleep, your eyes move rapidly beneath closed eyelids. Your brain waves resemble the patterns they make during wakefulness. Your body experiences temporary paralysis, which prevents you from acting out your dreams. And within this state, your brain engages in something remarkable. It generates dreams by combining memories, patterns, and predictions in ways that feel utterly real while you experience them. The default mode network is a system of brain regions that becomes active during rest and during sleep. This network includes the medial prefrontal cortex, the posterior cingulate cortex, and the angular gyrus, among other regions. When you are not focused on external tasks, when you are daydreaming or sleeping, this network activates. It generates internal narratives. It creates simulations. It weaves together information from your past and creates scenarios that feel like they are happening in real time. This is where your dreams originate. This is where your brain tells itself stories. The fascinating aspect of this process is that your brain does not distinguish between different types of information when it is creating these narratives. It combines actual memories with imagined possibilities. It blends sensory experiences with abstract concepts. It takes patterns it has recognized and extrapolates them forward into imagined futures. So when you dream that your best friend will call you the next day, and then your best friend actually does call the next day, your brain experiences this as confirmation of a premonition. But what actually happened is far more subtle and far more interesting. Your brain had recognized a pattern in your relationship with your friend. Perhaps you tend to talk on certain days of the week. Perhaps your friend has been calling more frequently lately. Perhaps you had been thinking about your friend earlier that day, which activated neural networks associated with that person. Your brain, in its pattern recognition capacity, created a dream that reflected the probability of your friend contacting you. It was not prophecy, it was prediction based on pattern recognition. It was your brain's way of simulating a likely future scenario based on information it had already processed. This prediction function is not limited to dreams. Your brain makes predictions constantly during waking life as well. When you reach for a coffee cup, Your brain predicts where your hand needs to move and how much force you need to apply. When you listen to music, your brain predicts what note comes next. When you watch someone's face, your brain predicts what emotion they are experiencing and what they might do next. These predictions are usually accurate, and so they feel transparent to you. You do not experience them as predictions. You experience them as direct perception of reality. But sometimes these predictions are wrong. When a prediction fails, you become consciously aware that prediction occurred. If you reach for a cup that someone has moved and your hand grasps empty air, you suddenly realize your brain had made an incorrect prediction. If a musician plays an unexpected note, you notice the surprise, which is actually your brain's prediction being violated. These moments of mismatch between prediction and reality are what make you aware that prediction is happening at all. During sleep, your brain continues this prediction function, but without the constraint of external reality. Your brain predicts and then it generates sensory experiences that match those predictions. So if your brain predicts that you will have a conversation with someone, it generates the experience of having that conversation. The dream feels completely real because your brain is not comparing it to actual sensory input. Your eyes are closed. Your ears are not receiving external sounds. Your brain is creating the entire experience internally. Now imagine this process applied to the future. Your brain, in its remarkable capacity for pattern recognition, has processed countless subtle cues about your life. It has registered patterns in your relationships, your work, your health, your environment. It has noticed things you were never consciously aware of, and during sleep, it generates dreams that reflect likely future scenarios based on these patterns. When one of these predicted scenarios actually occurs, it feels like premonition. It feels like your brain somehow knew the future. But your brain did not know the future in any supernatural sense. Your brain recognized patterns in the present and extended them forward into time. The network of neurons involved in this process is extraordinarily complex. The prefrontal cortex, which handles abstract thinking and planning, communicates with the hippocampus, which stores and retrieves memories. The amygdala, which processes emotions, colors these simulations with emotional significance. The visual cortex generates the imagery of your dreams. The temporal lobe processes language and meaning. All of these regions are in constant communication, creating a unified experience of dreaming that feels coherent and meaningful, even though it is generated entirely from within your own mind. This is why premonitory dreams feel so vivid, so real, so significant. Your brain is not creating hazy, vague images. Your brain is creating full sensory experiences with emotional weight and narrative structure. The dream unfolds like a real event. You interact with dream characters as if they were real people. You experience emotions as intensely as if the events were actually happening. This is not a sign that the dream is supernatural. This is evidence of how powerful your brain's simulation capacity is. This is proof of the extraordinary intelligence of your own consciousness. As you absorb this understanding, allow yourself to feel a sense of calm. You are not experiencing mysterious forces beyond your control. You are experiencing the natural function of your own brain. Your brain is working for you, processing information, making predictions, preparing you for likely futures. This is a function that has kept your species alive for millions of years. This is a function that continues to serve you every moment of your life. And there is something deeply reassuring about understanding that the mystery you have been pondering is actually the expression of your own mind's intelligence. The memory that rewrites itself. Memory is not a recording device. This is perhaps the most important fact to understand about human consciousness. Your brain does not capture experiences and store them like a video camera stores footage. Instead, your brain stores the components of an experience and reconstructs the memory each time you recall it. This reconstruction process is not a perfect reproduction. Each time you remember something, your memory changes slightly. It becomes distorted by your current beliefs, your emotions, your new experiences, and the context in which you are remembering. This process is called reconstructive memory, and it is fundamental to how human minds work. When you recall a memory, your brain retrieves fragmented information from different regions. It retrieves visual details from one area, emotional content from another, sensory information from another still. Then your brain stitches these fragments together into a coherent narrative. But the stitching is not always accurate. Your brain fills in gaps with what seems likely, what seems consistent with the overall narrative, what seems to make sense given what you believe to be true. Consider what happens when you have a premonitory dream, and then the predicted event occurs. You remember the dream, but you do not remember it as it actually was. You remember it as it relates to what actually happened. Your brain unconsciously emphasizes the aspects of the dream that matched reality and downplays, or even forgets the aspects that did not match. This is not conscious deception. This is not intentional dishonesty. This is simply how memory works. Your brain automatically edits your memories to create coherence with your current understanding of reality. A phenomenon called source confusion contributes significantly to the premonition illusion. Source confusion occurs when you remember the content of something, but misremember where that content came from. You might dream about your friend calling you. You might also think about your friend calling you while you are awake. You might have a conversation with someone who mentions that your friend has been trying to reach you. You might see your friend's name appear in a notification. All of these sources of information become mixed together in your memory. When your friend finally does call, you remember that you had predicted this, but you cannot clearly distinguish whether this prediction came from a dream, a thought, a conversation, or something else entirely. This source confusion is remarkably common and remarkably powerful in creating the illusion of premonition. Studies have shown that people are often unable to accurately identify where their memories came from. You might remember the content of a dream accurately, but misremember how long ago the dream occurred. You might remember having a premonition, but the premonition might actually have been a thought you had the day before, not the night before. These timing errors are crucial because they determine whether something feels like premonition or mere coincidence. Another mechanism at work is called the Mandela effect. Though more broadly, it is part of a larger category called false memory formation. False memories are memories of events that never actually occurred. These are not memories of dreams. These are memories of real events that never happened. People can be convinced that they remember seeing something they never saw, hearing something they never heard, or knowing something they never knew. And crucially, people can be convinced that they remember having a premonition about something they never actually predicted in advance. This can happen through a process called misinformation effect. After an event occurs, you receive new information about that event. This new information subtly alters your memory of what you predicted beforehand. You might have dreamed something vague and general, like dreaming that something bad was going to happen. Then, when something bad actually does happen, your memory of the dream becomes more specific. You remember dreaming about that specific bad thing, even though your original dream was far more vague. Your brain has unconsciously edited the memory to create better alignment with what actually occurred. Consider a concrete example. You dream that someone you know will have an accident. The dream is vague. You see someone falling, but you do not clearly see who it is. The next week, your cousin has a minor car accident. You suddenly remember that the dream was specifically about your cousin. But was it? Your brain cannot distinguish between what you actually dreamed and what you have now inferred based on what actually happened. Your memory has been unconsciously altered to create the premonition effect. This process is intensified by emotional significance. When something emotionally important happens, your memory of preceding events becomes more malleable. You are more likely to see connections between your dreams and reality when the reality is emotionally charged. If your cousin's accident was frightening or serious, you are more likely to misremember your dream as specifically predicting that accident. If the accident had been minor and you had heard about it casually, you might not have connected it to the dream at all. The brain also engages in a process called hindsight bias, sometimes called the knew-it-all-along effect. After an event occurs, you believe you would have predicted it. You look back at your dreams and see them as obvious premonitions, when in fact they were ambiguous at the time. You convince yourself that you should have known what was going to happen, that the signs were obvious, that you had actually known all along. This creates a distorted sense of your own predictive accuracy. These memory processes are not failures of your brain. They are actually features of your brain that serve important functions. By reconstructing memories, your brain can update them with new information. This allows you to learn and adapt. By filling in gaps with what seems likely, your brain creates coherence and meaning from fragmented experiences. By emphasizing memories that align with your current beliefs, your brain creates a stable sense of self over time. These processes have enormous survival value. They just also happen to create the illusion of premonition. The implication of this understanding is profound. The premonitory dreams you remember with such clarity and certainty are not necessarily accurate representations of what you actually dreamed. Your memory of the dream has been unconsciously edited and altered by the actual events that followed. You believe you predicted the future, but what you are actually experiencing is the natural operation of human memory, which tends to create coherence between what you expected and what actually occurred. This does not mean your dreams are meaningless. It does not mean your intuitions are worthless. It means that when you examine your premonitory experiences, you should do so with gentle skepticism. You should recognize that your memory of having predicted something is itself a memory that has been shaped by subsequent events. You should understand that your conviction about having known something in advance is not necessarily evidence that you actually did know it in advance. It is evidence that your brain is remarkably skilled at creating coherent narratives and meaningful connections between past and present. Information hidden in the depths. Your conscious mind is aware of only a tiny fraction of the information your brain processes every moment. This is not a limitation. This is actually a feature. If your conscious mind were aware of all the information your brain processes, you would be completely overwhelmed. You would not be able to function. Instead, your brain has evolved a remarkable system in which vast amounts of information are processed unconsciously, and only the most relevant information reaches your conscious awareness. This unconscious processing is extraordinarily sophisticated. Your brain constantly monitors your environment, your body, and your internal states. It detects patterns in sensory information that your conscious mind never registers. It picks up on subtle social cues from other people's faces, voices, and body language. It monitors your physical state, detecting hunger, fatigue, pain, and emotional arousal before you consciously notice these states. It processes language and meaning at a level far deeper than conscious understanding. Consider the phenomenon of subliminal perception. Research has demonstrated that your brain processes visual information that appears too briefly for you to consciously see it. You can perceive faces, words, and images that flash on a screen for just a few milliseconds, even though you're not consciously aware of seeing them. Your brain processes this information nonetheless, and it influences your subsequent thoughts and emotions. You might not consciously see a face, but your brain recognizes it, and your emotional response to that person is influenced by the unconscious perception. Similarly, your brain processes auditory information that you do not consciously hear. If someone whispers something while you are focused on a conversation, you will not consciously hear the whispered words, but your brain processes the sound. Your brain recognizes whether the words are emotionally significant, whether they are threatening, whether they are relevant to your current situation. This unconscious auditory processing happens constantly, shaping your awareness and your responses. This vast unconscious processing has profound implications for understanding premonition. Your brain might detect subtle environmental cues that your conscious mind never registers. You might notice, without consciously knowing you noticed, that your friend has been stressed lately. You might pick up on subtle changes in their voice, their facial expressions, their body language. Your brain processes all of this information unconsciously. Then, when you dream, your brain incorporates this unconsciously processed information into your dream narratives. You dream that something is wrong with your friend. The next day, your friend reveals that they have been struggling with something. You feel you have had a premonition, but what you actually experienced was your brain's unconscious perception becoming conscious through the medium of dreams. Your body also generates information that your conscious mind does not fully process. Interoception is the term for your brain's perception of your internal bodily states. Your brain constantly monitors your heart rate, your breathing, your digestive processes, your hormonal states. Most of this monitoring happens unconsciously, but your body responds to your emotional states and to your current environment. If you are anxious about something, your body tenses, your breathing becomes shallow, your heart rate increases. If you are about to encounter something you find threatening, your body begins to prepare for a stress response before your conscious mind is fully aware of the threat. During sleep, your brain continues to monitor your body's signals. If your body is tense because you are unconsciously anxious about something, your brain incorporates this bodily information into your dreams. You might dream that something bad is going to happen because your body is in a state of alert anticipation. Then, if something bad does happen, you remember the dream as a premonition. But the dream was actually your brain's way of expressing the information it had received from your body about your current state and your likely future state. Social information processing is another domain where your brain works far beyond conscious awareness. Humans are extraordinarily sensitive to social cues. You can read subtle shifts in another person's emotional state from the smallest changes in their face or voice. You can detect when someone is lying or being inauthentic, even though you might not be able to articulate exactly how you know. You can sense the emotional atmosphere in a room the moment you enter it. All of this social perception happens largely unconsciously. Your brain is constantly tracking the patterns in other people's behavior. If your friend tends to call you when they are upset, your brain registers this pattern. If your family member tends to have conflicts on certain days of the week, your brain detects this rhythm. If your partner tends to withdraw emotionally when they are stressed at work, your brain picks up on this correlation. When you dream that your friend will call you because they are upset, you are not having a supernatural premonition. You are having a dream that reflects the patterns your brain has unconsciously detected in your friend's behavior. This unconscious information processing explains why intuitions are often accurate. Intuition is not magical. Intuition is your brain's way of making you aware of conclusions it has reached through unconscious processing. You might have an intuition that you should not trust someone and later discover that person was deceptive. Your intuition was not supernatural. Your brain had processed subtle cues in that person's behavior and had reached the conclusion that they were untrustworthy, even though your conscious mind had not yet articulated these reasons. Similarly, your dreams often reflect unconscious knowledge about situations in your life. You might dream that a relationship is ending before you consciously acknowledge that the relationship is troubled. Your brain had processed subtle changes in the relationship dynamic and had drawn conclusions about its future. Your dream expresses these conclusions in symbolic form. You then experience the dream as a premonition because the relationship does indeed end, confirming what your brain had already unconsciously predicted. The beauty of this understanding is that it reframes your premonitions as evidence of your brain's remarkable intelligence. Your brain is not supernatural. Your brain is not accessing hidden knowledge from beyond the physical world. Your brain is simply extraordinarily skilled at processing information that your conscious mind never registers. Your brain is constantly making predictions about the future based on patterns it has detected in the past. And sometimes, these predictions are accurate enough that they seem like genuine premonitions. This also explains why some people seem to have more accurate premonitions than others. People who are more sensitive to social cues, more attentive to environmental details, more aware of their own emotional and bodily states, are more likely to have their unconscious processing reflected in their dreams. People who are more intuitive in their waking lives tend to have more premonitory dreams. They are not more psychic. They are simply more aware of the unconscious processing that their brains are constantly engaged in. They are more attuned to the subtle information their brains are processing. The illusion of coincidence. Probability is a strange thing to contemplate. The human mind has not evolved to think in terms of probability. Your mind has evolved to think in terms of causation. You look for causes. You assume that when two things happen in close proximity, one must have caused the other. This tendency, while useful in many circumstances, leads you astray when you are trying to understand coincidence and premonition. Consider how many dreams you have in a single night. During a typical 8-hour sleep period, you experience multiple cycles of REM sleep. In each cycle, you have a dream that lasts anywhere from a few minutes to over an hour. This means you have dozens of dreams every single night. Over the course of a year, you have thousands of dreams. Over the course of a lifetime, You have hundreds of thousands of dreams. Now consider how many significant events occur in your life. You have interactions with dozens of people. You travel to different locations. You experience various emotional states. You encounter unexpected situations. Over the course of a year, thousands of things happen to you. Over the course of a lifetime, millions of events occur. Given that you have hundreds of thousands of dreams and millions of events occur in your life, what is the probability that some of your dreams will coincidentally align with actual events? The probability is not low. The probability is actually quite high. In fact, it would be far more surprising if none of your dreams coincided with reality. This is a principle called the law of large numbers. When you have enough trials, you are virtually guaranteed to see coincidences that appear meaningful. This principle is at the heart of understanding the premonition illusion. You do not remember the vast majority of your dreams. You forget them as soon as you wake up, or within minutes or hours of waking. You only remember dreams that are vivid, emotionally intense, or that you happen to think about and rehearse mentally. Of the dreams you do remember, you do not expect most of them to come true. You expect most of them to be meaningless nighttime fantasies. But then occasionally a dream aligns with reality, and because this dream was memorable, because it was vivid, because it was emotionally significant, you remember it. You remember the alignment. You do not remember the hundreds of dreams that did not come true. You do not remember the thousands of events that did not match your dreams. Your memory selectively focuses on the hits and ignores the misses. This is called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, and recall information in ways that confirm your pre-existing beliefs. If you believe that you sometimes have premonitions, you will unconsciously seek out evidence that supports this belief. You will remember the dreams that came true and forget the dreams that did not. You will interpret ambiguous dreams as premonitory if they happen to align with subsequent events. You will ignore the many dreams that had no relationship to subsequent events. This bias is not intentional. You are not consciously lying to yourself. Your brain is simply functioning according to its natural tendencies. Your brain seeks to confirm what you already believe. Your brain pays more attention to information that supports your existing worldview. Your brain remembers information that aligns with your beliefs more easily than information that contradicts your beliefs. These are normal, universal features of human cognition. Consider the specificity of your predictions. Most people's premonitory dreams are actually quite vague. You dream that something bad will happen, but you do not know what or when. You dream that you will see someone, but you do not know when or where. You dream that something will change in your life, but you do not know what will change. These vague predictions are easy to confirm because they can align with many different actual events. If you dream that something bad will happen, and then anything bad happens in your life or the life of someone you know, you can interpret this as confirmation of your premonition. If you dream that you will see someone, and then you see them weeks later, you can interpret this as confirmation. If you dream that something will change, and then any change occurs in your life, you can interpret this as confirmation. The vagueness of the prediction makes confirmation almost inevitable. This is different from precise predictions, which are much harder to confirm by coincidence alone. If you dream specifically that your friend will call you on Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then your friend does call you on Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that would be remarkable. But people rarely have such specific premonitions. The premonitions are vague, which makes them easy to confirm. The human mind is also prone to pattern finding, even where no pattern exists. This is called apophenia. Your brain is so skilled at finding patterns that it sometimes finds patterns in random data. You see a face in a cloud. You find meaning in a random arrangement of letters. You see connections between unrelated events. This is because your brain is fundamentally a pattern-finding machine. It is better to find a pattern where none exists than to miss a real pattern. So your brain errs on the side of finding patterns. When you have a dream, and then something similar happens, your brain finds a pattern. Even if the dream and the event are only loosely related, your brain connects them. Your brain finds meaning in the connection. Your brain interprets the connection as evidence of premonition, but the connection might be entirely coincidental. the pattern might exist only in your mind's interpretation. Statistical probability also works against the intuitive sense that premonitions are rare and remarkable. If you have thousands of dreams over the course of your life, and if many of those dreams involve events that could plausibly occur in your life, then some of those dreams will coincidentally align with actual events. This is not remarkable. This is expected. The remarkable thing would be if none of your dreams ever coincided with reality. The gambler's fallacy is another cognitive bias that contributes to the premonition illusion. The gambler's fallacy is the mistaken belief that past events affect the probability of future independent events. If a coin has landed on heads 5 times in a row, people often believe that the next flip is more likely to be tails. But this is false. Each flip is independent. The past results do not affect the future probability, yet people persistently believe that they do. Similarly, people often believe that if they have had one premonition, they are more likely to have another. They believe that if they dreamed something that came true once, they must have genuine premonitive ability. But this reasoning is flawed. One coincidence does not indicate a pattern. One hit does not indicate genuine predictive ability. You need to look at the overall accuracy rate of all predictions, not just the ones that happen to come true. When people actually track their predictions carefully, they find that their accuracy rate is no better than chance. Studies of people who claim to have premonitions show that when they make specific predictions about the future and then check whether those predictions came true, their accuracy rate is approximately 50%. This is exactly what you would expect from random guessing. This is what you would expect from pure coincidence. Their claimed premonitive ability disappears as soon as they are asked to make specific predictions that can be objectively verified. Understanding this principle of coincidence and probability brings a sense of calm. You do not need to believe that you have supernatural abilities. You do not need to believe that you are missing some aspect of reality. You can simply understand that you are experiencing the normal operation of probability and confirmation bias. You are experiencing the normal tendency of human minds to find meaningful patterns. And this understanding is actually liberating. It frees you from the anxiety of wondering whether you have abilities you do not understand. It allows you to simply be human, with a brain that is remarkably skilled at finding patterns, even where no genuine pattern exists. Dreams as your brain's prediction engine. Your brain is fundamentally a prediction machine. This is not a metaphor or a simplification. This is the core function of your brain. Your brain exists to generate predictions about what will happen next. It uses these predictions to guide your behavior, to prepare your body for likely futures, to make decisions about how to act. Your brain's entire architecture is organized around the principle of prediction. During waking life, your brain makes predictions constantly. When you walk down a hallway, your brain predicts where obstacles might be and guides your body accordingly. When you listen to someone speak, your brain predicts what word will come next and what they might mean. When you see someone's face, your brain predicts what emotion they are experiencing and what they might do. When you smell food, your brain predicts whether it will taste good and whether it will make you feel satisfied. These predictions guide your every action and perception, but predictions are not always correct. When predictions fail, you become consciously aware that prediction was occurring. You trip because you predicted the ground was level when it was not. You misunderstand someone because you predicted they would say something different than what they actually said. You misjudge someone's emotional state because you predicted they were upset when they were actually happy. These moments of misprediction are when you become aware of the prediction process itself. During sleep, your brain continues this prediction function, but without the constraint of external reality. Your brain generates predictions about what might happen, and then it generates sensory experiences that match those predictions. This is essentially what dreaming is. Your brain is simulating scenarios. It is running through possible futures. It is practicing responses to potential situations. It is engaging in a process that has enormous survival value. Consider a simple example. You are worried about an important meeting at work. During the day, you consciously think about the meeting. You wonder how it will go. You imagine different possible outcomes. Your brain processes all of this information and generates predictions about what will happen. Then, when you sleep, your brain continues this process. Your brain generates dreams about the meeting. In some dreams, the meeting goes well. In other dreams, the meeting goes poorly. Your brain is essentially rehearsing different scenarios. It is preparing your body and mind for the actual event. This dream simulation function has been preserved through evolution because it has survival value. Animals that can mentally simulate dangerous scenarios and practice responses to those scenarios are more likely to survive when they encounter those scenarios in reality. Your brain has inherited this function from millions of years of evolution. Your brain is designed to generate simulations of possible futures so that you can be prepared when those futures actually occur. Now consider what happens when one of these simulated scenarios actually occurs. You dreamed about the meeting, and then the meeting happens. If the meeting unfolds in a way that is similar to one of your dreams, you feel that you have had a premonition. But what actually happened is that your brain successfully predicted what would occur, and then your dream reflected that prediction. Your brain did not access hidden knowledge about the future. Your brain simply made an accurate prediction based on information it had processed about the situation. The remarkable thing is that your brain is often quite good at making these predictions. Your brain has accumulated vast amounts of information about how situations typically unfold. Your brain has learned patterns about how people behave, how systems work, how events develop. Your brain uses this accumulated knowledge to generate predictions that are often surprisingly accurate. And when these predictions are reflected in your dreams and then actually come to pass, it feels like genuine premonition. But here is the crucial point. Your brain makes millions of predictions every day. The vast majority of these predictions are never consciously reflected. They remain entirely unconscious. Your brain predicts, and based on those predictions, it guides your behavior. You never consciously experience most of these predictions, but sometimes your brain's predictions are reflected in your conscious experience. Sometimes they appear in your dreams. When these conscious predictions happen to be accurate, you notice, you remember, you feel that you have had a premonition. The specificity of your dreams often reflects the sophistication of your brain's predictive models. If you dream very specifically about something that then occurs, it suggests that your brain had developed a detailed model of the situation. Your brain had processed subtle cues and had generated a detailed simulation of what would likely happen. The specificity of the dream reflects the complexity of the prediction, not the supernatural nature of the prediction. This also explains why some people seem to have more accurate premonitions about certain domains than others. An experienced nurse might have premonitions about patients' health. An experienced teacher might have premonitions about students' behavior. An experienced trader might have premonitions about market movements. These are not supernatural abilities. These are reflections of the sophisticated predictive models these people have developed through years of experience in their domains. Their brains have learned patterns that allow them to make accurate predictions. These predictions are sometimes reflected in their dreams. The survival function of dream simulation also explains why many premonitions are about negative events. Your brain is particularly focused on potential threats and dangers. Your brain prioritizes predicting what might go wrong, because survival depends on being prepared for danger. So your brain generates more simulations of negative scenarios than positive scenarios. Your dreams are more likely to reflect potential problems than potential joys. This is why people often remember premonitions about bad things that happen, but forget the dreams about good things that do not materialize. This negativity bias in dream simulation is another normal feature of human consciousness. It is not evidence of supernatural knowledge. It is evidence that your brain is prioritizing survival by focusing on potential threats. Your brain is doing exactly what it has been designed to do by evolution. It is preparing you for dangers, and sometimes, when a danger that you dreamed about actually occurs, it feels like you have had a supernatural premonition. But what has actually occurred is that your brain has successfully predicted a danger based on the patterns it has learned. Understanding your brain as a prediction engine allows you to appreciate the extraordinary intelligence of your own consciousness. You do not need supernatural abilities to explain premonition. Your brain is already an extraordinary prediction machine. Your brain is constantly simulating possible futures and preparing you for what might come. This is remarkable enough, This is worthy of wonder and appreciation. And once you understand this, you can relax into the knowledge that your brain is working for you, protecting you, preparing you, even while you sleep. The selective memory that shapes reality. The human mind has a remarkable capacity to forget. This is not a flaw. This is actually essential to your mental health and your ability to function. If you remembered every dream you had ever experienced, every thought you had ever thought, every moment of your life with perfect clarity, you would be overwhelmed. You would not be able to focus on what matters. You would not be able to function in the present because you would be drowning in memories of the past. So your brain has evolved a filtering system. Your brain decides what to remember and what to forget. This filtering process is not random. Your brain prioritizes certain types of information. Your brain is more likely to remember things that are emotionally significant, things that are repeated, things that are relevant to your current concerns, things that fit your existing beliefs about the world. This selective memory is particularly powerful when it comes to premonitions. Your brain selectively remembers dreams that came true and forgets dreams that did not. This is not because the dreams that came true were more vivid or more memorable in any objective sense. It is because your brain is engaging in a process called selective attention and selective encoding. Your brain is more likely to encode and store in memory the dreams that align with subsequent reality. Consider how this works. You have a dream. Most dreams are forgotten within minutes of waking. You are more likely to remember a dream if you think about it immediately upon waking. You are more likely to remember a dream if you tell someone about it. You are more likely to remember a dream if it was emotionally intense or unusual. Most dreams fade away and are never consciously remembered. But then, something happens in your waking life. This event is meaningful to you for some reason. It captures your attention. It creates an emotional response. And then, you suddenly remember a dream that seems related to this event. You remember the dream because the waking event has activated the memory. Your brain has suddenly retrieved the dream from long-term memory and brought it into conscious awareness. Now, here is the crucial part. Your brain did not retrieve a perfectly preserved recording of the dream. Your brain retrieved fragmented information about the dream and reconstructed it. In the process of reconstruction, your brain unconsciously emphasized the aspects of the dream that matched the current waking event. Your brain downplayed or even forgot the aspects that did not match. So the dream you now remember is not the dream you actually had. It is a reconstructed version of the dream that has been unconsciously edited to match the waking event. This selective reconstruction of memory is called the Bayesian brain hypothesis in neuroscience. Your brain uses probability and prior beliefs to reconstruct memories. When you remember something, your brain combines the fragmentary information it has stored with its beliefs about what is likely. If you believe that you sometimes have premonitions, your brain will reconstruct your dreams in ways that support this belief. Your brain will remember the dreams that seem to support the premonition hypothesis and forget the dreams that contradict it. Another powerful mechanism is called the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. This fallacy gets its name from an image of a cowboy who shoots at the side of a barn randomly and then paints a target around the bullet holes. He then claims that he is an excellent shot. This is false reasoning, but people engage in this reasoning constantly about their own premonitions. When you have a vague dream and then many different things happen in your life, you can find a connection between the dream and any of those things. You can paint the target around the bullet holes. You can select the event that matches your dream and interpret the dream as a premonition of that event. You can ignore all the other events that did not match your dream. In this way, you create the illusion of accuracy through selective attention. The hitting rate of premonitions also illustrates the power of selective memory. People who claim to have premonitive dreams often report that their predictions come true a very high percentage of the time. When they are asked to estimate their accuracy, they might say that 80% of their premonitions come true. But when researchers ask these same people to make specific predictions in controlled conditions, their accuracy drops to approximately 50%. This dramatic difference reveals the power of selective memory. In real life, people remember the premonitions that came true and forget the ones that did not. They unconsciously select the successes and ignore the failures. In controlled conditions, where they must make specific predictions and then check whether those predictions come true, they cannot engage in this selective memory process. They cannot forget the failures. They cannot unconsciously emphasize the successes, and their accuracy immediately drops to chance levels. This selective memory process is intensified by what psychologists call the sunk cost fallacy. Once you have invested in the belief that you have premonitive abilities, you are more likely to selectively remember information that supports this belief. You have already told people that you have premonitions. You have already based some of your decisions on your premonitions. You have already developed an identity as someone who has premonitive abilities. Changing this belief would require admitting that you were wrong, that you have been mistaken about something important. Your brain resists this change. Your brain selectively remembers information that supports the existing belief. The implications of this understanding are both humbling and liberating. Your conviction that you have had premonitions is not evidence that you actually have premonitive abilities. Your conviction is evidence that your brain is remarkably skilled at finding meaningful connections and selectively remembering information that supports your existing beliefs. This is not a flaw. This is a normal feature of human consciousness, but it is a feature that can lead you astray if you do not understand it. Once you understand this, you can approach your memories of premonitions with gentle curiosity rather than certainty. You can ask yourself whether the dream you remember is actually the dream you had, or whether it is a reconstructed version that has been unconsciously edited to match subsequent reality. You can recognize that your sense of accuracy about your premonitions might not be accurate. You can appreciate your brain's remarkable ability to find patterns while understanding that not all patterns reflect genuine connections. This understanding brings a sense of peace. You do not need to believe that you are missing some aspect of reality. You do not need to believe that you are losing your mind or that you are being deceived by supernatural forces. You can simply understand that you are experiencing the normal operation of human memory and human cognition. And this understanding allows you to relax into a more accurate understanding of yourself and your capabilities. Intuition versus premonition. There is a distinction worth exploring between genuine intuition and what people often interpret as premonition. Intuition is a real phenomenon. It is based on your brain's unconscious processing of information. Premonition, as people typically understand it, implies supernatural knowledge of future events. These are fundamentally different things, and understanding the difference brings clarity to your own experiences. Intuition is your brain's way of making you consciously aware of conclusions it has reached through unconscious processing. You walk into a room and immediately feel that something is wrong, even though you cannot articulate exactly what is wrong. Your brain has processed subtle cues in the environment and has reached the conclusion that something is amiss. Your brain communicates this conclusion to your conscious mind as a feeling or a hunch. This is intuition. Intuition is often quite accurate because your brain is processing real information. Your brain is picking up on cues that your conscious mind does not explicitly register. Your brain is recognizing patterns that your conscious mind has not articulated. Your brain is making inferences based on accumulated experience and knowledge. When your intuition is accurate, it is because your brain has done sophisticated processing that leads to correct conclusions. But intuition is not perfect. Intuition is based on the patterns your brain has learned, and those patterns can be biased or incomplete. Your intuition about a person might be influenced by their appearance, their accent, their gender, their race. These superficial characteristics might trigger associations in your brain that lead to inaccurate intuitions. Your intuition about a situation might be based on incomplete information. Your brain might recognize a pattern that seems relevant, but that is actually not relevant to the current situation. Premonition, as people typically understand it, implies knowledge of future events that cannot be explained by normal information processing. It suggests that your mind has access to information about the future that is not available through normal sensory channels. It suggests something supernatural or paranormal. This is different from intuition, which is based on unconscious processing of real, available information. The key difference is in the source of the knowledge. Intuition comes from information your brain has already processed. Premonition, as traditionally understood, would come from information that is not yet available through normal means. This is a crucial distinction. If your brain is making predictions about the future based on patterns it has learned, that is intuition or prediction, not premonition. If your brain somehow has access to knowledge about future events that is not based on information it has already processed, that would be genuine premonition. But genuine premonition has never been demonstrated under controlled scientific conditions. Countless studies have investigated whether people have premonitive abilities. These studies have asked people who claim to have premonitions to make specific predictions about future events. The results have consistently shown that people's accuracy is no better than chance. Their accuracy is approximately 50%, which is what you would expect from random guessing. This does not mean that intuitions are not valuable. Intuitions are often quite useful. People who are more attuned to their intuitions often make better decisions than people who ignore their intuitions. This is because intuitions are based on real information processing. Your brain has processed subtle cues, and your intuition reflects conclusions your brain has reached. Trusting your intuitions can be helpful, but there is an important caveat. You should not trust your intuitions blindly. You should recognize that intuitions are based on patterns your brain has learned, and those patterns can be wrong. You should be open to evidence that contradicts your intuitions. You should be willing to revise your intuitions when new information suggests they are incorrect. You should use your intuitions as one source of information, but not as the sole source. This is particularly important when your intuitions are about other people. Your brain's intuitions about people are often influenced by biases. Your brain might have learned associations between certain characteristics and certain behaviors, and these associations might be based on stereotypes rather than reality. Your brain might have learned to distrust people who remind you of someone who hurt you in the past. Your intuitions about people can be valuable, but they can also be misleading. The same is true for intuitions about the future. Your brain's intuitions about what will happen are based on patterns it has learned about how situations typically unfold. These intuitions are often quite accurate, but they are not perfect. Your brain might be extrapolating from patterns that are not actually predictive. Your brain might be missing important information that would change the outcome. Your intuitions about the future should be treated as educated guesses, not as certain knowledge. This distinction between intuition and premonition also helps explain why people so often mistake intuition for premonition. When your intuition is accurate, it feels like you have had genuine foresight. You feel like you knew something was going to happen before it happened. This feeling is real, but the knowledge is not supernatural. It is based on your brain's unconscious processing of information. It is intuition, not premonition. Understanding this distinction brings a kind of peace. You do not need to believe that you have supernatural abilities in order to appreciate the remarkable intelligence of your brain. Your brain is already extraordinary. Your brain is constantly processing information in ways that your conscious mind never experiences. Your brain is making predictions and reaching conclusions based on patterns it has learned. And sometimes these predictions and conclusions are reflected in your conscious experience as intuitions or feelings or hunches. This is remarkable enough. This deserves appreciation and gratitude. At the same time, understanding this distinction allows you to be more skeptical about claims of genuine premonition. You can recognize that what feels like premonition might actually be intuition based on unconscious information processing. You can recognize that what feels like supernatural foresight might actually be your brain's remarkable predictive abilities. And this understanding allows you to navigate the world with more clarity and more accuracy. When anxiety becomes prophecy. Anxiety and anticipation play a profound role in creating the experience of premonition. When you are anxious about something, your brain enters a state of heightened alert. Your brain becomes hyper-focused on potential threats. Your brain generates simulations of things that might go wrong. And these simulations, these anxious predictions, sometimes appear in your dreams. When something bad actually happens, you remember the anxious dream and interpret it as a premonition. But what you are actually experiencing is the manifestation of your anxiety. Consider how anxiety works. When you are anxious about something, your brain is not in a state of rest. Your brain is in a state of active preparation for threat. Your brain is scanning your environment for danger. Your brain is generating predictions about what might go wrong. Your brain is preparing your body to respond to the threat. This state of anxiety is exhausting. It is unpleasant. It is disruptive to your normal functioning. During sleep, this anxiety does not disappear. Your brain continues to process the source of your anxiety. Your brain continues to generate predictions about what might go wrong. These anxious predictions are sometimes reflected in your dreams. You have anxiety dreams. You have nightmares. You have dreams in which bad things happen. These dreams are not supernatural premonitions. These dreams are your brain's way of processing and expressing your anxiety. Now, here is what happens. You have an anxiety dream about something bad happening. You feel frightened when you wake up. The dream was vivid and emotionally intense. You remember it. You carry the memory of the dream with you throughout the day. You are anxious about the thing you dreamed about. Your anxiety is heightened because of the dream. Your brain is now even more hyper-focused on the potential threat. Then, sometimes, something bad actually does happen. It might be related to the thing you were anxious about, or it might be something entirely different. But because you are anxious, you interpret it as related to your dream. You remember the dream. You feel that your dream was a premonition. You feel that you somehow knew this was going to happen. But what actually happened is that you were anxious about something. You had an anxiety dream about that thing, and then something bad happened. The connection might be entirely coincidental. Moreover, your anxiety itself can contribute to the bad thing happening. If you are anxious about a relationship, your anxiety might make you behave in ways that damage the relationship. If you are anxious about your health, your anxiety might cause stress that actually affects your health. If you are anxious about a performance, your anxiety might make you perform poorly. In these cases, your anxiety dream was not a premonition of the future. Your anxiety was a contributing factor to the future outcome. Your brain was not predicting the future. Your brain was influencing the future through the effects of anxiety on your behavior and physiology. This is sometimes called a self-fulfilling prophecy. You believe that something bad will happen. Your belief causes you to behave in ways that make the bad thing more likely to happen. Then the bad thing does happen, and you feel that your premonition was accurate. But what actually happened is that your belief caused the outcome. Your premonition did not predict the future. Your premonition helped create the future. Anticipatory anxiety is a specific form of anxiety in which you are anxious about something that might happen in the future. You are anxious about an upcoming event. You are anxious about a potential problem. You're anxious about something that might go wrong. This anticipatory anxiety often leads to anticipatory dreams. You dream about the thing you are anxious about. You dream about possible outcomes. You dream about how you might respond. These dreams are your brain's way of mentally rehearsing the situation you are anxious about. When the anticipated event finally occurs, you remember the anticipatory dreams. You feel that you have had a premonition. But what you have actually experienced is your brain's process of mentally preparing for an expected event. Your brain was not accessing hidden knowledge about the future. Your brain was using available information about the likely future to generate simulations and rehearsals. This is actually a useful function. Mental rehearsal through dreams can help prepare you for future events. If you mentally rehearse a difficult conversation, you might be better prepared for the actual conversation. If you mentally rehearse a performance, you might perform better when the time comes. The dreams are not premonitions. The dreams are preparation. The dreams are your brain's way of helping you be ready for what is coming. But sometimes, this preparation function can become problematic. Sometimes, your anxiety generates so many negative simulations that you become convinced that bad things are definitely going to happen. You have so many anxiety dreams about disaster that you feel certain that disaster is coming. This excessive anxiety can actually impair your functioning. It can make you less able to handle the actual situation when it arrives. Understanding the role of anxiety in creating the premonition illusion can help you manage your anxiety more effectively. When you have an anxiety dream, you can recognize it as your brain expressing your anxiety, not as a premonition of the future. You can acknowledge the anxiety without accepting the prediction. You can tell yourself that your brain is anxious, but that does not mean the feared outcome will actually occur. You can use your anxiety dreams as information about what you are anxious about, but not as information about what will actually happen. This distinction brings relief. When you understand that your anxiety dreams are not premonitions, you can respond to them differently. You can use them as signals that you need to address your anxiety. You can seek support, practice relaxation techniques, gather more information about the situation you are anxious about. You can take action to reduce your anxiety rather than accepting your dreams as inevitable predictions of the future. At the same time, you can recognize that your brain is trying to help you. Your brain is generating anxious dreams because it is trying to prepare you for potential challenges. Your brain is trying to make sure you are ready. Your brain is trying to protect you. This is actually a caring function, even though it feels unpleasant. Your brain is working for you, even when it is generating anxiety and frightening dreams. And when you understand this, you can be more gentle with yourself about your anxiety. You can appreciate your brain's protective function while working to reduce unnecessary anxiety. The bridge between science and wonder. There is often a sense that understanding the science behind premonitions will diminish the wonder of these experiences. If you understand that premonitions are not supernatural, if you understand that they are based on your brain's pattern recognition and prediction abilities, will they cease to be wonderful? This is a common concern. But the answer is no. Understanding the science does not diminish wonder. Understanding the science amplifies wonder. Consider what you now understand about your brain. Your brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons. Each neuron connects to thousands of other neurons. This creates networks of incomprehensible complexity. Within these networks, your brain processes information that you never consciously experience. Your brain makes predictions about the future. Your brain generates simulations of possible scenarios. Your brain creates dreams that feel completely real. Your brain stores memories that it can reconstruct and retrieve. Your brain generates language, emotion, intention, consciousness itself. When you contemplate these capabilities, is this not worthy of wonder? Is this not extraordinary? Your brain can process so much information that it can predict what will happen before it happens. Your brain can simulate futures so vividly that they feel real. Your brain can extract patterns from vast amounts of data and use those patterns to navigate the world. This is not less wonderful than if these abilities were supernatural. This is more wonderful. This is the product of billions of years of evolution. This is the expression of the laws of physics and chemistry and biology organized into consciousness itself. The reframing of premonition as evidence of your brain's predictive power, rather than evidence of supernatural ability, is actually a more accurate and more inspiring understanding. You do not need to believe in magic in order to be amazed by your own mind. You do not need to believe that you are accessing hidden knowledge beyond the physical world in order to appreciate your own intelligence. You can simply recognize that your brain is already doing something that feels like magic. Your brain is already extraordinary. Moreover, understanding the science allows you to appreciate the specific ways in which your brain is intelligent. You understand that your brain is processing subtle information that your conscious mind never registers. You understand that your brain is recognizing patterns in vast amounts of data. You understand that your brain is using these patterns to make predictions about the future. These are not vague supernatural abilities. These are specific, describable, understandable functions of your brain, and understanding how these functions work allows you to appreciate them more deeply. This understanding also allows you to use your brain's predictive abilities more effectively. If you understand that your brain is constantly making predictions based on patterns it has learned, you can become more conscious of these predictions. You can recognize when your brain is making predictions that might be inaccurate. You can seek out information that will help your brain make better predictions. You can learn to trust your intuitions more appropriately, recognizing when your brain's unconscious processing has likely led to accurate conclusions and when it might have led you astray. Furthermore, understanding the science of premonition connects you to a larger community of human inquiry. You are not alone in experiencing these mysterious phenomena. Humans throughout history have experienced premonitions and have tried to understand them. Scientists have conducted research on premonitions. Psychologists have studied the mechanisms of memory and prediction. Neuroscientists have mapped the brain regions involved in dreaming and prediction. By understanding the science, you are participating in humanity's larger project of understanding consciousness and the human mind. There is also a certain humility that comes with understanding the science of premonition. You recognize that your premonitions are not evidence of special supernatural abilities that set you apart from other people. Your premonitions are evidence that your brain is functioning normally. Everyone's brain makes predictions. Everyone's brain generates dreams. Everyone's brain sometimes has their dreams coincidentally align with reality. You are not special or exceptional in having premonitions. You are simply human. And there is something peaceful about accepting this. There is something liberating about recognizing that you do not have abilities you do not understand or cannot control. You simply have a normal human brain that is doing its normal human function of making predictions and generating simulations. At the same time, understanding that you do not have supernatural premonitive abilities does not mean that your dreams are not valuable. Your dreams are valuable. Your dreams reflect your brain's processing of your life. Your dreams express your anxieties, your hopes, your concerns, your desires. Your dreams help your brain work through problems. Your dreams help your brain prepare for the future. Your dreams are meaningful expressions of your consciousness, even if they are not supernatural prophecies. The bridge between science and wonder is built by recognizing that the science itself is wonderful. The mechanisms of your brain are not less amazing than the idea of supernatural abilities. The mechanisms are more amazing because they are real, and they are describable, and they can be understood and appreciated. When you understand how your brain works, you do not lose the sense of wonder. You gain a deeper, more accurate, more grounded sense of wonder. You develop appreciation for the extraordinary capabilities of your own consciousness. This brings a sense of peace and integration. You no longer need to choose between scientific understanding and appreciation for the mysteries of consciousness. You can have both. You can understand the mechanisms while still experiencing wonder. You can recognize that your brain is making predictions while still appreciating the feeling of knowing something before it happens. You can appreciate the science and the experience simultaneously. They are not in conflict. They are complementary aspects of the same reality. Living with mystery and understanding. There is a paradox at the heart of consciousness. The more you understand about your mind, the more mysterious it becomes. Understanding the neuroscience of dreaming does not eliminate the mystery of why you have the dreams you have. Understanding the mechanisms of memory does not eliminate the mystery of why you remember certain things and forget others. Understanding the science of premonition does not eliminate the experience of wonder when a dream coincidentally aligns with reality. And this paradox is not a problem. This paradox is the essence of living with genuine understanding. Genuine understanding is not the elimination of mystery. Genuine understanding is the transformation of mystery into something more nuanced and more interesting. When you understand the science of premonition, you do not stop experiencing premonitions. You do not stop having dreams that seem to predict the future. You simply understand these experiences differently. You understand them as expressions of your brain's remarkable intelligence rather than as evidence of supernatural abilities. And this understanding actually deepens your appreciation for these experiences. Living with this understanding requires a kind of intellectual humility. You recognize that you do not understand everything about your own mind. You recognize that consciousness itself remains mysterious in many ways. Scientists do not fully understand how consciousness arises from neural activity. Scientists do not fully understand why you have the subjective experience of being a unified self. Scientists do not fully understand why you have emotions or why you dream. There is still much mystery, but the mystery is bounded. It is a mystery about how the physical mechanisms of your brain give rise to consciousness, not a mystery about whether consciousness involves supernatural forces. This kind of bounded mystery is actually more peaceful than unbounded mystery. When you believe that premonitions are supernatural, you feel that there are forces beyond your understanding and beyond your control operating in your life. You feel that you might be missing important information about yourself and your future. You feel that you need to figure out how to access these supernatural abilities or protect yourself from them. This can be anxiety-producing. But when you understand that premonitions are the product of your brain's normal functioning, you feel more in control. You understand that your brain is making these predictions based on information it has already processed. You understand that you can influence the accuracy of your brain's predictions by seeking out better information. You understand that you can use your brain's predictive abilities more effectively by becoming more conscious of them. This brings a sense of agency and control. You are not at the mercy of mysterious forces. You are working with your own brain to navigate the world more effectively. At the same time, understanding the science allows you to hold the experiences lightly. You can have a dream that seems to predict the future without becoming attached to the idea that you are having a premonition. You can appreciate the dream without needing to interpret it as a message from the universe. You can enjoy the coincidence when a dream aligns with reality without needing to explain it as evidence of your supernatural abilities. You can simply let the experience be what it is: a dream, a coincidence, an expression of your brain's intelligence, a moment of connection between your unconscious mind and your waking life. This lighter way of holding your experiences is actually more conducive to relaxation and peace. When you are attached to the idea that your dreams are premonitions, you become tense. You become focused on trying to figure out what the premonition means. You become anxious about whether the premonition will come true. You become obsessed with looking for connections between your dreams and your waking life. This tension and focus can actually impair your sleep and your peace of mind. But when you understand that your dreams are simply your brain's way of processing and simulating, you can relax. You can let your dreams be what they are without needing to interpret them as having special significance. You can appreciate them when they are beautiful or interesting, and you can let them go when they are disturbing or confusing. You can sleep more peacefully knowing that your brain is working for you, processing your life, preparing you for what comes next. You do not need to figure out what your dreams mean. You do not need to worry about whether they are premonitions. You can simply let your brain do its work while you rest. Living with mystery and understanding also means recognizing that other people's experiences are valid, even if they are not consistent with the scientific understanding. Your friend might have a premonition experience and interpret it as a message from the universe. Your family member might believe that their dreams are supernatural prophecies. You can respect their experiences and their interpretations without needing to convince them that they are wrong. You can understand the science while allowing others to find meaning in their experiences in the ways that work for them. At the same time, you can gently share your understanding with people who are struggling with the anxiety that comes from believing in supernatural premonitions. You can help them see that what they are experiencing is the normal functioning of their brain. You can help them understand that they do not have abilities they cannot control. You can help them feel less anxious and more at peace with themselves. This is a gift you can give to others when you understand the science of premonition. Ultimately, living with mystery and understanding is about finding a kind of peace that is grounded in reality. It is about appreciating the extraordinary capabilities of your own mind without needing to believe in supernatural forces. It is about recognizing that your brain is already doing something miraculous. Your brain is processing vast amounts of information. Your brain is making predictions about the future. Your brain is generating experiences that feel completely real. Your brain is creating consciousness itself. This is miracle enough. This is wonder enough. And when you understand this, you can relax. You can trust your brain. You can appreciate your own mind. And you can sleep peacefully, knowing that your dreams are the voice of your own consciousness, speaking to itself in the language of symbols and sensation. The dream continues within you. As we draw this exploration to a close, allow yourself to pause and reflect on the journey you have taken. You began this evening with a question about the nature of premonition. You wondered whether your dreams could predict the future. You questioned whether you possessed abilities that you did not understand. And through our time together, you have explored the science behind these mysterious experiences. You have learned how your brain processes information. You have learned how memory works. You have learned how your brain makes predictions. You have learned how coincidence and probability contribute to the premonition illusion. And in the process, you have come to understand yourself more deeply. This understanding is a gift you can carry with you. When you have a vivid dream in the future, you will understand what is happening. Your brain is processing your life. Your brain is recognizing patterns. Your brain is simulating possible futures. Your brain is preparing you for what might come. You do not need to be afraid of your dreams. You do not need to search for hidden meanings that might not exist. You can simply appreciate your dreams as expressions of your brain's intelligence. You can use your dreams as information about yourself, your concerns, your hopes, your anxieties. You can let your dreams be what they are. And when a dream coincidentally aligns with reality, you can appreciate the coincidence without needing to interpret it as a supernatural event. You can recognize that your brain is remarkably skilled at making predictions. You can feel grateful that your brain is working for you, processing information, preparing you for likely futures. You can feel amazed by the capabilities of your own consciousness. You can feel at peace knowing that you understand what is happening. The science of premonition is ultimately a science of consciousness. It is an exploration of how your brain works. It is an investigation of how you experience reality. It is a study of the mechanisms that give rise to your thoughts, your emotions, your dreams, your sense of self. And this science reveals something profound. Your brain is extraordinary. Your consciousness is extraordinary. The fact that you can think, feel, dream, remember, imagine, predict and experience yourself as a unified being is extraordinary. You do not need supernatural explanations to be amazed by yourself. You simply need to understand how your brain actually works. This understanding brings peace. When you understand the mechanisms of premonition, you release the anxiety that often accompanies these experiences. You stop wondering if you are losing your mind. You stop feeling that you have abilities you cannot control. You stop searching for hidden meanings in your dreams. You simply appreciate your brain as the remarkable organ that it is. You appreciate your own consciousness as the extraordinary phenomenon that it is. And you can relax into the knowledge that your brain is working for you, even while you sleep. As you move forward from this moment, carry with you the understanding that you have gained. When you dream tonight, remember that your brain is processing your life. When you have an intuition, remember that your brain is making a prediction based on information it has processed. When something coincidentally aligns with a dream you had, remember that this is the normal operation of probability and pattern recognition. When you feel anxious about the future, remember that your brain is trying to prepare you, not predicting inevitable disaster. And through all of this, remember that your brain is working for you. Your brain is on your side. Your brain is helping you navigate the world. Your brain is remarkable. I would like to know where you are listening from and what time it is there. Please share your location and the current time in the comments below. This helps us understand where our listeners are in the world, and it creates a sense of community among people who are exploring these questions together. If this experience has brought you inner peace, if this understanding has helped you relax into a deeper appreciation of your own mind, I would appreciate a like and a subscription to the Relaxing Science channel. Your support helps us continue to create content that explores the intersection of science, consciousness, and contemplation. Your subscriptions help us reach more people who are searching for understanding and peace. The exploration of premonition is not finished. Science continues to investigate consciousness. Neuroscientists continue to map the brain. Psychologists continue to study memory and prediction. And as this research progresses, our understanding of consciousness will deepen. If you would like to see more content like this, if you would like to continue exploring the mysteries of consciousness, please let us know in the comments. Your feedback helps us create content that serves you. As you move towards sleep, allow yourself to relax, knowing that your brain is working for you. Your brain will continue to process your life while you sleep. Your brain will generate dreams. Your brain will make predictions about the future. Your brain will prepare you for what comes next. You do not need to control this process. You do not need to understand every aspect of it. You simply need to trust that your brain is doing what it has been designed to do by millions of years of evolution. Your brain is intelligent. Your brain is helpful. Your brain is working for your survival and your well-being. The dream continues within you. Tonight, as you sleep, your brain will generate dreams. These dreams are not supernatural prophecies. These dreams are the voice of your own consciousness. These dreams are your brain's way of processing your life and preparing for your future. These dreams deserve your appreciation and your gratitude. These dreams are evidence of the extraordinary intelligence of your own mind. Thank you for joining me on this journey of exploration and understanding. Thank you for choosing to learn about yourself. Thank you for choosing to relax into a more accurate understanding of your own consciousness. Thank you for being here, in this moment, exploring these questions with an open mind and an open heart. This matters. Your curiosity matters. Your desire to understand yourself matters. And the peace you have found through this understanding matters. As you drift towards sleep, know that you are safe. Know that your brain is working for you. Know that you are the owner of an extraordinary consciousness. Know that you do not need to fear your dreams or your premonitions. Know that you can trust your brain. Know that you can appreciate your own mind. Know that you are remarkable. And know that this understanding will remain with you, bringing you peace and clarity whenever you remember it. Sleep well, dream well, and remember that the dream continues within you. Final.